Hi, my name is Gaius.
And my name is Bia.
Welcome to our series where we have the wonderful opportunity to talk with the staff from the Singapore Association for the Deaf.
Join us as we dive in to find out more about the heroes behind the scenes.
Hi, my name is Gaius and I'm here with Wei Yong today, who is the Senior Manager of the Communication Access section under the
Deaf Access Services Department.
Being under the Communication Access section, what do you specialize in?
I'm actually the Senior Manager, and to say specialize is a bit challenging because I oversee many things. One of which is that I lead a team of sign language interpreters and also a team of note takers. And together, these are the service providers who serve the deaf and hard of hearing community in Singapore. But as to what I specialize in, I also oversee the front end of things and also the back end. So the back end, the administration and things like ensuring that we have enough service coverage for the deaf and hard of hearing community in Singapore, ensuring and overseeing the service allocation between the service providers to the clients who request for our service. And then on the other hand, I also look into the administrative processes like the back end, so-called paperwork. But because of COVID, we don't use paper anymore. So there is a lot of digital processes that we have implemented in place, and so I also look into those areas.
When you're serving your clients, are there any typical challenges you may face along the way?
If you ask me what are the main challenges today that I face in my current position, I would say the main challenge is that in ensuring sufficient and appropriate service coverage for the deaf and hard of hearing community in Singapore. And why do I say this? Because if you look at our department, we have 2 full-time staff note takers. We have currently 6 full-time staff sign language interpreters. Can you imagine this small number serving the entire deaf and hard of hearing community in Singapore? You can count the number of service providers with 2 hands. And then you imagine how many clients are out there in Singapore requesting for the service. So this is one of the main challenges that I bear in mind every day as I try to figure out moving forward how can we ensure we have enough sign language interpreters, we have enough note takers. Of course, having said that, this is just a staff strength. We also work with and rely a lot on the community note takers and also the community sign language interpreters. So we term them as CNTs or CIs for short. So you can think of them as volunteers. But of course they are not volunteer per se, because we pay an honorarium to the community service providers. So we currently have about 30 community interpreters and about 35 community note takers. And together as the communication access section, we have the staff service providers working together with the community service providers to serve all of Singapore. But even then, there is still insufficient service providers. So this I would say is one of the main, if not the biggest challenge.
For this challenge, you say that there may be lack of staff to help go around. So what is your way to overcome a challenge such as this?
Wow, really very difficult though. I don't have a hard and fast answer for you, but for now, what we are trying to do is to constantly recruit and grow the numbers. So it is a quite challenge trying to figure out what is the appropriate number of staff sign language interpreters and maybe staff note takers to have, and then also what are the numbers that we should strive to achieve for the community pool. Call it a community pool. We don't know what's a good number, but for now the strategy is just to keep growing the number of community service providers. And then also we try to do outreach to schools or organizations and try to get them to also grow and advocate for the need to have note takers or sign language interpreters out there in the community. So the strategy I would say is we want to have more community service providers more so than the staff.
Do you have anything to share with the people watching who plan to pursue a career that is similar to yours?
Well, I would say at first I would advise and really must drive this point home that even though this is cliche and it has been said many times, but you really need to have the passion to serve in an industry such as the social service. If you really and genuinely have a heart and want to serve the disadvantaged, the marginalized, or people without a voice, people without sufficient representation, and if you know this to be true in your heart, if this is what drives you, then you will go quite far in the industry. So I would say, if you want to work in this industry, whether as a note taker, or as a sign language interpreter, or someone who wants to advocate for, raise awareness for accessibility, equality, equity, then you first have the heart for it. Have the heart, then everything will fall into place.
Yeah, so I think passion is really important, not
Yes.
just in any.
Yes.
I mean, it applies to everywhere, not just in the social services.
Yes. Yeah, because the challenges can be quite daunting, and you will find that for people in the social service sector, especially when you're on the front lines, you tend to and eventually will experience burnout. So you need to also learn how to manage yourself, and you find that at the end of the day, it is the passion that will really keep you going. Even as cliche as it sounds, even as stereotypical as it sounds.
Okay, so that is all for today. We hope that you learned something from Wei Yong over here.
You have to see this as a profession. Yeah. A lot of people maybe they think sign language interpreters are just volunteers with a passion to help or serve in the community. Actually, this is a profession, and you have to see this as something that as a career, and you need to make sure that you provide the best service to them.